And I remember, bro. I had some shell, some Adidas shell toes. They was white. What they was like dark, like a dark blue right here, navy blue, whatever you want to call it. And bro, they was big, bro. Like I was still growing into them, but they was so fresh, bro. And I was dating this girl, and like when she ended up breaking up with me and stuff like that, saying it wasn't working out and shit like that. And like she got me, bro. She got my shit, literally. Like it's like on the paper. I went to class, and they had the paper on my desk, and like on the side somewhere on the paper, she put like big shoes with a question mark, son. She put big shoes with a question mark. Swear to God. But yeah, after that, I was like, damn, I don't think I ever wore them shell toes again, bro. What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Dante So Rare. I am back with another video, and I ain't gonna stop until my kids. Hold on, bro. How do I forget that, bro? Y'all gotta tell me that. Y'all gotta, bro. I'm gonna start over. Fuck it, bitch. And I ain't gonna stop until my kids get 100 million. I ain't gonna stop until I change lives in the world for real. Yeah. So today, man, we finna get into the Kerwin Frost story, bruh. Through education. See, I wanna get into some of this through education because of the fact that, bruh, I wanna be a fashion person myself, man. I foresee myself ripping the runways and just doing all type of cool stuff, bro. I always wanted to be at a fashion show in the front row with a big old slice of pizza, you feel me? Like on some cool shit, big puffer coat, all that, bro. But yeah, man, y'all let me know if y'all into fashion. What's y'all favorite brands? Who do y'all look up to in fashion as far as fashion go? If you ask me who I probably look up to in fashion, bro, I really like the thrift. I look up to a lot of people. Look up to A$AP Rocky. Look up to Ian Connor, Bloody Osiris, Bloody Dior. I like that. I like them. You know what I'm saying? But how I'm gonna come with fashion? I just want my fashion to revolve around like all type of different stuff. Like I just want to let my mind just go. You feel me? But yeah, though, man. Let's get into the Kerwin Frost story. I always been seeing Kerwin Frost around, but never knew what he was about, bro. And he seemed like a cool person. Let's get into it.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Threducation. Today we'll be talking about the Kerwin Frost story. It's been a while since I've done a video on someone from the New York streetwear scene, and it's about time that I do because Kerwin is, without a doubt, one of the most important figures to have emerged from this scene. Nowadays, his face, pencil tattoo and all, is just about everywhere on social media, but here we're going to be taking things back to the very beginning, seeing how he got his start and everything that he's accomplished along the way. So without further ado, let's get into it. This is the Kerwin Frost story. Born in 1995, Kerwin grew up on 10th and Lenox in Harlem, New York. Living in public housing with his mother, his beginnings were rather humble, so the world of luxury fashion wasn't really on his mind early on. He did, however, discover his sense of style quite early on during a trip to a flea market that his father told him was Macy's. While it may not have been a Macy's, this is where Kerwin discovered his passion for vintage clothing, and it was the first time that he really put any thought into what he was wearing. From that point forward, he started putting together different outfits with whatever he could find, and he seemed to have the most fun when he pushed things to the limit. In a later interview with Lucas Sabat, Kerwin recalls that his high school forced all students to wear a gilded shirt with the school's name on it, and not wanting to wear the same thing as everyone else, he would cut the name out of the shirt and sew it onto other pieces.
Nah, that's
Unfortunately,
fine.
the school began suspending him for this, so it didn't last all that long, but fear not, Kerwin had something a bit more permanent in mind. At the age of 14, using a fake ID, he got a pencil tattooed on his face. Nowadays, it's hard to imagine him without this tattoo, but I want you to stop and think for a moment about how crazy this was at the time. This was way before the era when everyone with the SoundCloud had one. Back then, having one was extremely rare, and that's not even taking into consideration the fact that he was just a 14-year-old kid.
Damn.
As far as why he wanted a pencil, well, Kerwin acknowledges that face tattoos were seen as a very menacing thing, and he wanted to shift people's perspectives on that by selecting a non-menacing object. There's also something about a pencil that inspires a sense of creativity, so I guess you could say that this was his way of committing to a lifetime of creative pursuits. And to be honest, I'm not sure that he had any other choice after this, because I have to imagine that a tattoo like this would make it a bit harder to pursue a traditional career path. So this was early evidence of Kerwin's unique personality, and while it would someday make him famous, it actually made things very difficult for him in the beginning. And I'm not just talking about the tattoo, I'm talking about the fact that he could never really find a group of people that he belonged with. As he remembers it, most kids at his school either played basketball, skated, or joined some type of gang, but he wasn't interested in any of that. He did eventually begin hanging out with the skate crowd, but it wasn't because he had any interest in skating. You see, Kerwin realized that if he could make people laugh, they'd always be happy to have him around. So even though he himself never skated, his sense of humor is what gave him entrance into this clique. He didn't become too deeply immersed in it, but I just wanted to bring this up because his humor would eventually become a major part of his public persona, and it's fascinating to look back and see how that started. It's also worth mentioning that many of the skaters that Kerwin was hanging out with wore.
I ain't gonna lie, bro. What I see about Kerwin, what I've been seeing about Kerwin for like before, just seeing him on the scene and just seeing him everywhere and stuff like that, you can tell he just be himself, bro. Which is a good thing. Fam, just be himself.
Supreme, so this provided him with a bit of exposure to New York's streetwear culture. And his interest in Supreme is actually something we'll be talking about in just a bit. Now, even though people liked Kerwin and found him funny, he never felt a strong sense of belonging. And so with no real plan in place, he dropped out of high school. It was a big decision, and it's not one that he made lightly, but after making up his mind, there was no turning back. And in many ways, this is where the story truly begins. After dropping out of school, Kerwin had a lot more free time on his hands, and he pretty much just used this free time to wander around New York City. One day, while doing just that, he stopped in at the Super Chief Gallery in Brooklyn to check out an art exhibit. And after a brief conversation with the gallery's
Polo rugby.
problem, however, because he had just the right idea. As I just alluded to, he had taken an interest in Supreme, and you have to remember that this was sort of during Supreme's golden age. There was still a degree of hype and an active reselling community, but this was when the real skaters and streetwear fanatics would camp outside of the store overnight just to get their hands on a single t-shirt. Kerwin took note of that, and he too started camping outside of the Supreme store with the intention of buying pieces and then selling them to people who showed up later when the pieces had sold out. Now, I'm not saying that the act of reselling Supreme was pivotal in Kerwin's fashion career, because at the end of the day, his objective was just to make some money. But the reason that this is important to his story is because it was in the Supreme line that he first started making connections in New York's streetwear scene. Once again, thanks to his sense of humor, people in the line naturally gravitated towards him, and one of the first real friends that he made was Jonah Levine. Jonah was already spending most of his time in Soho, so he was fairly well connected in the local scene, and he's actually the one that introduced Kerwin to Father Steve and Austin Babbitt.
Man, I ain't gonna lie, man. That's pretty smart, bro. Like getting in the line. You know what I'm saying? Getting in the line, goddamn, buying the Supreme, and then you already know this shit fire. Folks probably gonna come late. Folks probably way in the back of the line. He goddamn taking it, reselling it, bro, for that bread, and he dropped out of school. I ain't gonna lie, that's crazy. That is crazy, bro.
Also known as Ass Pizza. We'll be talking more about Austin and Kerwin's relationship later on, but before that, I'd also like to mention that Father Steve is the one who introduced Kerwin to Mike the Ruler. So let me provide a little bit of context here. The New York streetwear scene's Soho era largely coincided with the advent of social media. If you watched my video on the Ass Pizza story, you'll know that Austin was already beginning to build a following on Vine, and Kerwin was beginning to build a following on Instagram by posting comedically outlandish fit pics. This was great, but very few could compete with the social media presence of Mike the Ruler. At the time of his rise to stardom, Mike the Ruler was hardly 13 years old, and while his intention was never really to be funny in the way that Austin and Kerwin were, there was something undeniably amusing about a kid his age with such a mature understanding of fashion. I don't mean this in a negative way, but the fits almost look out of place. In fact, during the same interview I referenced earlier, Lucas Abbott laughs remembering that the first picture he saw of Mike was him wearing Rick Owens at a Thanksgiving dinner. So all of that said, Kerwin was well aware of who Mike was before they met, and once they finally did meet, they quickly became close friends. Nowadays, Kerwin even credits Mike with helping him learn more about fashion, so this relationship was certainly an important one to him. Now, another important relationship for Kerwin would be his one with Luka Sabat. And while they would eventually become inseparable,
I be seeing fam too. Wasn't he like in Grownish? I seen him in Grownish, but I did see him on like Instagram before. Like he a model.
they discuss in the interview that they didn't exactly get off on the right foot. You see, Kerwin was still in need of a job, and because he spent so much time in Soho, he wanted nothing more than to work at one of the local stores. And fortunately for him, he was able to land an internship at V-Files. In case you aren't familiar with V-Files, it basically started as an online fashion blog and eventually evolved into a social media powerhouse. When Kerwin joined, they had just recently opened a physical boutique in Soho where they would sell pieces from the hottest up-and-coming brands, but he actually worked on the second floor as a member of the social media team. He was still just 16 years old, but his following of fashion fans on Instagram made him the perfect fit, and so they decided to give him a chance. As far as the job itself, Kerwin couldn't have been happier, but there was one other intern that he simply did not get along with, and that intern's name was Luka Sabat. If you haven't already watched my video on the Luka Sabat story, I highly suggest you do, because it will give you a better understanding of how he fits into the New York streetwear scene and how he landed this internship at V-Files. But for the purposes of this video, just know that him and Kerwin had met previously through Austin and Steve, but that they didn't particularly like each other. As far as why they didn't like each other, well, Kerwin says that Luka came off as a bit pretentious and left him to deal with most of the hard work. But between the internship and the fact that they were in the same friend group, they were practically forced to spend time together, and before long, the tension between them started to fade. I guess you could even say that this happened out of necessity, because it was around this time that Kerwin and Austin had a falling out. This falling out was only temporary, and there wasn't even any real root cause, but with the other members of the crew living on the outskirts of the city, there was a period of time where it was just Kerwin and Luka linking up in Soho. So just like that, they went from hating each other to becoming best friends.
That's fine.
Now, as great as this was, Luka was not the only important connection that Kerwin made while working at V-Files, because his seat in the office just so happened to be right next to Heron Preston's. Heron was working at V-Files, but his main focus at the time
I seen his name somewhere. He got like a brand.
was running Ben Trill, a brand
Oh
that he founded
yeah, I remember
alongside
that.
Virgil
Damn, that's
Abloh,
fire.
Matthew Williams.
Man, Ben Trill was definitely a part of my little era coming up, boy. You just seen this everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Man, that shit crazy.
And Justin Saunders. Working alongside Heron gave Kerwin in my video about Matthew Williams, so check that out if you want to know more. But just know that A$AP Rocky was a major fan of Ben Trill, but after some behind the scenes controversy, he decided to stop wearing it, and then dissed the brand in his song Multiply. Where does Kerwin fit into all of this? Well, as the story goes, he went into the office the day after Rocky released the music video for Multiply, and Heron was already plotting his response. He ended up taking a screenshot from the music video that shows Rocky standing in front of a crossed out Ben Trill logo, and he then screen printed that onto a shirt. Kerwin is the one who took this photo, and it pretty much went viral. I'm not sure how many of you remember this, but the release of Multiply became a major storyline in the streetwear community, and this photo became a significant part of the narrative. Again, Kerwin's role in this was pretty small, but he was slowly becoming more and more immersed in the culture. He was still young and had a lot to learn, but he decided that it was finally time to start something of his own. And in 2013, that's exactly what he did. With the help of his friend and fellow Harlem native Ray Martinez, Kerwin officially launched the Spaghetti Boys in 2013. Sort of like Ben Trill, he intended for it to be seen as more of a creative collective than just a brand, and I'll also note that he picked the name Spaghetti Boys because that was the name of a group of hitmen in New York back in the 1990s. Although he thought it sounded cool at first, Kerwin actually jokes around in his interview with Hot 97 saying that he started to hate the name shortly after picking it, but by that point it was too late to make any changes. Now, even though Kerwin and Ray were technically the founding members, there were a number of what I guess you could call Spaghetti Boys affiliates, including Luka, White Trash Tyler, Corey Hauk, Sheck West, and Austin.
I ain't gonna lie, bro. To be so young, bro, and be making like groups and cliques and gangs, like not gangs, but like towards something so positive like clothing, bro, is crazy. Man, that's amazing.
After reconciling their differences, Austin and Kerwin began working closely together on different projects for the Spaghetti Boys, and while I don't want to get too sidetracked here, I want to talk a bit more about their friendship. As we've discussed, they did have a falling out earlier on, but after rejoining forces, we began to see just how strong their friendship really was. And the first example of this was the now infamous video of Kerwin fighting Playboy Cardi. If you don't know the context here, that may sound a bit
Yeah, I
crazy,
seen that.
but allow me to explain. You see, Ian Connor played a major role in jumpstarting Austin's career by promoting him heavily on social media. But when Austin started to gain a following of his own, Ian felt like he wasn't receiving enough credit. This led to a long-winded beef, much of it taking place on Twitter, but in 2015, Austin and Ian finally came face to face. Ian showed up with Cardi, who was one of his best friends, and Austin showed up with Kerwin, who was one of his best friends. As expected, an argument ensued, and this led to Kerwin and Cardi throwing hands. I'm not sure why Austin and Ian didn't just fight each other, because after all, it was their beef, but the point here is that Kerwin came to Austin's defense. Just a few months later, however, the tables turned, because Austin would be the one coming to Kerwin's defense. Like I just said, Austin was really starting to build a following of his own, and pretty soon, there were rumors circulating about the possibility of an Ass Pizza Adidas collab. We don't have too much to substantiate these rumors other than some of Austin's sketches and a photo of him and Kerwin at the Adidas headquarters.
Wow, that's
But
crazy.
I guess we'll never know, because shortly after the rumors came out, Austin shared this screenshot on Instagram. We can't see who this tech.
If you want to collab with Adidas, don't chill with Kerwin. And I'm serious. Damn, then I guess there's no collab. Oh, real friend, bro.
Came
Oh,
from because the
God.
name is cropped out, and he's never revealed any further details, but the point is clear. Somebody who presumably had some power at Adidas told him that he had to choose between Kerwin or the collab. For Austin, the choice was simple, but if this is real, I really don't understand why anyone at Adidas would have had a problem with Kerwin, especially considering the fact that he now has his own partnership with Adidas, which
Yeah,
we'll
I
talk
seen
about in just
that.
a bit. So anyways, going back to the Spaghetti Boys, they really embraced the
I ain't gonna lie, man. Bro, New York, man. That's crazy. I ain't gonna lie. Not saying it's cool to drop out of school, but man, to be able to just drop out and do what you love at a young age, man. Shit, man. You feel me? And just be tapped in. You know what I'm saying? And they moving how they was moving, man. That's pretty amazing, bro. I'm not gonna lie.
the idea of being a creative collective. Together, they released clothing, DJ'd, hosted events, dropped zines, released mixes with their favorite artists. Pretty much anything that they could think of, they did. Much like Kerwin himself, the brand's aesthetic was quite vibrant, and this really helped the pieces stand out. Thanks to this, as well as the countless fans that the members already had, the Spaghetti Boys quickly developed a cult following. And over time, they earned collaborations with Heron Preston, as well as Virgil Abloh's Off-White.
It's
Seeing
fire.
as the Spaghetti Boys modeled themselves after Ben Trill, and that Kerwin used to work with Heron, this was truly a full circle accomplishment. And I think
I might cop some. See, we gonna do these thread educations and stuff like that, bro. And I see some fire shit, cause at this point it'll probably be technically, like, I guess so to say, vintage, old now, like type stuff. Like I will bring these pieces back, bro. Like I start, like, you feel me?
it's amazing that a few kids who
And then my story will start like this. It'll be like how he talking in the background. Dante so rare. Dante so rare became on the fashion scene after starting as a YouTuber, reacting to so many videos. He came across Kerwin Frost and etc. After watching Thread Education, and now he is like one of the top guys in fashion. That'll
used to
be
just wander
fire.
around Soho were able to make something like this happen. All things considered, the Spaghetti Boys served as a medium through which Kerwin and his friends were able to explore their own creative interests. And while the journey was fun, its ultimate purpose was to prepare them for the next stage in their careers. That said, the Spaghetti Boys officially separated in 2018, and Kerwin began plotting his next move. Since the early days of Instagram and Vine, Kerwin has been one of the most entertaining people on the internet. But if you ask me, 2018 is
He made me want to cop a little polo rugby,
when he really started.
bro. See, I'm on my little fruit fast, bro. Today is day 5, bro. I kid you not. I really, bro. I think it was like 2017, bro. 2017. I graduated. I graduated in May in 2017, and I was just working overnight at Walmart. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't eat nothing because I'm a person, bro. Like eat. You know what I'm saying? I don't like to eat while I'm at work and stuff like that because I can eat I can eat one chip. I feel like I'm gonna be sluggish the whole night. Like that whole chip gonna just ruin my whole night. So I would just eat like mandarin oranges and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Just to goddamn, get me like get me right. That's all I would eat every day, every day, every day. And when I moved to my grandma's house, I wasn't having no food like that either at the time. Like it wasn't all that great, but I made the best of it. I had a job. So I wasn't paying no bills, so I wouldn't. Sometimes I would just treat myself out, order Domino's and stuff like that, but I couldn't get it all the time because it was stuff I was trying to buy too at the same time. Like I remember I bought my first it's 2017. This when Wish was popping. I bought my first V-Long piece off Wish. You feel what I'm saying? It was like off-white V-Long or whatever and stuff like that. It had like the little orange. Off on the front, and it had a big old V on the back. Got that mug from Wish, and I ended up getting me like a camo like fatigue coat. Like it was thin though, like it wasn't like no big ass coat, but that was like off. That was supposed to be off white, off brand, off white. Got that shit too. You know what I'm saying? 2017, bro. Real talk. I was winning everything, but like I'm down here where I'm from, bro. I'm from Lake Charles, bro. Down here, I feel like folks. People know about it, but you had to be tapped in to be tapped in. Like, you know what I'm saying? To follow these type of people, like that I was looking at, like, Ian Connor, you got your goddamn Ace Rocky, all them people. You know what I'm saying? So that's what that was. And yeah, I was just into that type of stuff. But like I say, bro, I'm on a fruit fast right now. Like on some health, I'm on the healthy side this time. Get back down to my weight and stuff like that. I'm trying to go 30 days. Let me not say I'm gonna go 30 days. You know what I'm saying? I'm day 5 right now, so really I got 25 days to go. You know what I'm saying? That ain't about nothing. But yeah, man, let's get back to the video.
That's exactly how he made it onto the guest list for the release party of Kanye's album Ye, the release party for his album Kids See Ghosts, and even his family Christmas party, all within the same year. Not only was Kerwin invited to these.
This moment right here was so elite, bro. Bro, you got Kerwin, you got Leotti, you got Bloody, Dior.
If you haven't already seen these videos, I'll link Kerwin's YouTube channel down in the description, and let me just say that they are hilarious. I'll let you experience them for yourself, but they're the type of videos that only Kerwin could pull off. As something as private as a family Christmas party hosted by the Kardashians, filming a YouTube video seems unthinkable. But Kerwin just throws on a Santa suit and sticks his camera in the face of all of these A-list celebrities. This was the start of a hot streak for him, and in 2019,
that's
it would
fire.
be on display early in 2019 at Fashion Week in Milan. To start, he wore this Moncler Genius suit designed by Craig Green. According to his Instagram post, it weighs a total of 100 pounds.
That's like a goddamn Houdini.
His luggage, but he actually wore this on the flight to Milan, not just to the show. But believe it or not, this isn't even his craziest outfit. For Dior's show, he was given a standing room ticket instead of a seat, so he decided to wear a set of wings that would take up as much room as possible. Not only that, but this made him the center of attention. Now, even though this was pretty funny, which is right on brand for Kerwin, I want to be very clear in saying that he's not just doing this stuff to make people laugh. While these fits may be a bit outlandish, he really does have a strong understanding of style. Many of the pieces he wears are not easy to pull off, but he makes it look normal. And he does also have a few low-key fits that I think are very nice, like this one where he's wearing Yeezy Season. If you scroll through his
that's fire.
Understanding of the style that he's become.
Bro, I hate
and if I had to describe
the delay
it's almost like
in this mic.
Speaking of which, that actually leads me to my next point. In early 2019, Kerwin launched his own YouTube talk show called Kerwin Frost Talks. This is what I was referencing earlier when I was talking about his interview with Lucas Sabat, and this really is one of my favorite shows on the internet. So far, he's had interviews with Jeremy Scott, Shane Oliver, ASAP Rocky, Tyler the Creator, and Jerry Lorenzo, just to name a few. If you're into fashion and music at all, you really need to go watch these, and I cannot stress
Yeah, we definitely gonna watch them.
enough how good of an interviewer Kerwin is. His humor allows him to connect with anyone, but his knowledge is what sets him apart. I mean, he really was there for the rise of New York streetwear scene, so he knows all of the right questions to ask, and better yet, he has stories to tell. So between stealing the show at Fashion Week and launching a highly successful show, 2019 was undoubtedly a special year for Kerwin. But what truly made it special is that this was the year that he and his wife Erin Yogasundram had their daughter Waffle. In addition to being his wife, Erin is his closest creative collaborator and business partner. And I already know that some of you are gonna mention that they did have a public breakup last year, but they have since gotten back together, which I think I speak for everyone in saying that I'm happy to see. All in all, Kerwin's career
Love
has
that
never been
family
going
stuff.
better heading into 2020, and as we're about to find out, he had plenty more in store. Offices. The unique thing about the Adidas Super Stuffed is that despite their appearance, they actually fit like normal shoes. They may still be a bit clunky to wear, but it is most definitely an interesting concept. This past
And I remember, bro, I had some Adidas shell toes. They was white. What they was like dark, like a dark blue right here, navy blue, whatever you want to call it. And bro, they was big, bro. Like I was still growing into them, but they was so fresh, bro. And I was dating this girl, and like when she ended up breaking up with me and stuff like that, saying it wasn't working out and shit like that. And like she got me, bro. She got my shit, literally. Like it's like on the paper. I went to class and they had the paper on my desk, and like on the side somewhere on the paper, she put like big shoes with a question mark, son. She put big shoes with a question mark. Swear to God. But yeah, after that, I was like, damn, I don't think I ever wore them shell toes again, bro.
November, they continued the partnership by revealing a wider range of items, including a blue fur sweatsuit, a colorful shoe called the Benchmates, and Adidas Forum highs that are literally meant to look like a face. I'll also add in that Chief Keef modeled a number of the pieces from this collection, so that alone is pretty cool. Overall, I think it's great that Kerwin is using his partnership
That's
to
fire.
experiment like this, and even if you can't see yourself wearing some of these pieces, you really can't help but wait to see what he does next. As a fan of Kerwin, I'm personally looking forward to seeing his future with Adidas, and my hope is that we'll be seeing them work together for a long time to come. Now, believe it or not, Kerwin's Adidas collab is not the only outlandish collab that he's worked on. Up a partnership with 7-Eleven. Yes, you heard that right. Kerwin Frost is an official partner of the My hope is that we'll be seeing them work together for a long time to come. Now, believe it or not, Kerwin's Adidas collab is not the only outlandish collab that he's worked on this year, because he also struck up a partnership with 7-Eleven. Yes, you heard that right.
I ain't gonna lie, bro. If anything, bro, I want my own bodega, bro. That's facts.
Kerwin Frost is an official partner of the convenience store 7-Eleven. It started with the release of his Snack Party Mix, which was actually available at a handful of 7-Elevens, and it continued with the release of a snack uniform, which has a total of 18 pockets for holding snacks.
Oh, that's
As weird
fine.
as this is, the quirkiness of this partnership somehow makes it seem like the perfect match. And it leads me to the question, what on earth is Kerwin going to do next? Well, we may not know the answer to that, but we do know that it will likely involve Kerwin's Kingdom. Kerwin's Kingdom is his recently launched website that will be home to all future clothing drops, collaborations,
That's so fire,
archive
bro.
releases, and much more that even he may not know about yet. While I wouldn't compare this to the Spaghetti Boys in any way, it does seem like he's setting up another creative umbrella for his future projects, so it'll be very interesting to see what he does with this. He's even hinted at doing some in-person pop-up type events
That's
like
so
the one
cool.
that he already did at ComplexCon, so that is something we will all have to look forward to. So that pretty much wraps up everything that I wanted to touch on for the Kerwin Frost story. Part of me wishes that there were more people like him in the fashion industry, but at the same time, I understand that much of his success comes from the fact that there aren't many people like him in the fashion industry. He's unapologetically himself, and nowadays, that's pretty rare. There's no doubt in my mind at all that Kerwin is one of a kind, and after hearing his
Man, she got a picture with him, but she kept the mask on.
story, my hope is that you have a deeper understanding and appreciation of everything it took for him to get where he is today. Anyways, thank you all for watching Through Education. I'm currently working on some highly requested.
Man, nah, that's fire, bro. I had a thought. I don't know what I was about to say. But it's your boy Dante So Rare, man. Until next time.